Well, there are some people who say everybody is an artist, and while on the one hand I kind of agree, the moment that everything becomes something, it kind of loses its value. For me, what makes an artist is essentially someone who makes choices in a more global sense, in a way that he wants to communicate something. Good or bad, as that's very much a subjective thing to me. If I like your message or not, doesn't matter. Essentially, it's about expression. Maybe that's a better word. I knew that I didn't want to be ending up sitting in some office or something. That was never my thing. Life without art is like life without love, in a way.
Welcome one more day into CAPTA LAVIE. Thank you very much for being here to sing Jakob Lohmann. He's an amazing performer. We got a lot of interesting information about him. Also, what's art for him? What is his biggest single challenge? What's happening in this quarantine? What's the thought about theaters? What we should do, good or bad? It was an amazing experience. It's gonna bring us a lot of value, and I hope you can enjoy it. Also, last things, you can support us on Patreon. There's the link below that you can also get the full interviews without any interruption. I think that can be super cool. Also, you can get you can go inside our webpage. There we have the 3 easy steps to start dancing. I think it can be helpful for any kind of performers. You can check it, it's for free. Just give it an eye. And that's it, guys. We keep you informed. I hope you enjoy all these new artists. We will bring you more of these interviews to know what's the artist behind. And have a great time. Have a nice day. You can also follow in all the other social media. Don't forget to give a like, comment, share it. It will help us a lot. And yeah, let's just keep creating. Hello, people. This is CAPTA LAVIE. I'm Unreal, and today my guest is Jakob Lohmann, who is an amazing performer. And today we will be trying this Rebel.fm to see our quality. We want to bring you more interviews to see what's the human behind every artist. And welcome to CAPTA LAVIE. Thank you for being here, Jakob. And let's start with the first question, just to know more who is Jakob Lohmann and what do you do for living?
Who am I? I am, well, usually I used to say circus artist, but in the last year things have been quite complicated about that. But I guess we talk about that later. And for a living, well, I'm a performer. I'm currently, well, right now it's COVID, but normally I would be performing at the moment quite a lot with a small Belgian company called MTV. And apart from that, I also have my own smaller project that I am trying to sell at the moment, and yet another project where I am in creation right now. And that's essentially how I'm spending my time and making my living for the moment.
Okay, cool. Who is an artist for you, and what are those qualities needed to think like an artist?
Who is an artist? Well, there are some people who say everybody is an artist. And while on the one hand, I kind of agree, the moment that everything becomes something, it kind of loses its value. So I'm like, for me, what makes an artist is essentially someone who makes choices in a more global sense, in a way that he wants to communicate something. So that's not just telling something to a friend or something, but to put some thought in, okay, how do I say something, and using various media to communicate something. And there it comes then down to being an artist at a certain point, independent of good or bad, as that's very much a subjective thing to me.
This thing.
Manage to communicate what you want to communicate, good. If I like your message or not, doesn't matter.
Yeah, but also something important that you have something to communicate, but it's also someone that takes action and communicating it, because you can be an artist, but also if you don't expose yourself, are you an artist? Yeah, sure, but just for yourself, right? And no one else will enjoy your art.
Essentially, it's about expression. Maybe that's a better word.
Yeah, true. And why did you decide to become an artist and also became a circus performance? It's like you had a lot of options to do, right, in this world, and you go for that. I'm curious about it.
Um, why? Well, when I started to do circus, I was still quite young and was not making it as a conscious choice of I want to become an artist. That was not the path. It was I was still in kindergarten, I think. Either I was in kindergarten or beginning of primary school, and I saw a performance of a local youth circus in my hometown. And then when I finished primary school, I joined that youth circus because I enjoyed their performance that I saw. And then I was doing that for the pretty much the entire duration of high school. And I got to know some other people that are doing circus and some people that continued then to go on to circus schools. And all that sounded very interesting to me and sounded like fun. And I knew that I didn't want to be ending up sitting in some office or something. That was never my thing. So I continued to follow that same path and ended up in circus school and graduated from there. And that's how I came to being an artist and to doing circus. And now, lately, after I graduated from circus school, my orientation has more and more not drifted away from circus, but I'm not using it as much in the artworks I'm creating, but I'm using essentially whatever I feel fits to communicate the message that I want to talk about in my performances. So
Cool.
that's
Then
performances of mine that contain circus, but true circus people would argue if that show is circus or not.
okay, that's really interesting. Also, could you tell to the people who's looking where did you graduated and which school you had studied and how was also your experience in the school and now in the professional world? What's kind of the difference that you feel the most?
So I did Kodats in Rotterdam and studied there for 4 years. And my experiences there have been mixed. So that's quite personal in a way. And looking back to it, I have to say it was very good the way that things happened. When I came to Kodats, I studied in hand-to-hand. So I was working in a duo with a partner together. Um, and then after 3 years, I personally felt for myself that the duo is not really working for me. Like we were training together and all that fine, but artistically I was looking for something else and I had the feeling that I couldn't express that inside of this duo. And and that
Can you
most
explain also for the people who doesn't know what's hand to hand, a bit of general explanation?
so hand to hand is when you're working in a duo or a trio or whatever, and there you have a flyer and a bass. And the bass is the person standing on the floor usually, and the flyer is being balanced by the bass. So as a flyer, I would be doing handstands on top of my bass, and he would throw me in the air. I would do something in the air, and he would catch me again, and things like this.
Then you were the flyer in
I was,
that case. Okay, I thought you were the base, but that's
uh,
nice to know.
like I like to pretend that I'm a bass, but I'm not. I'm too small and too light for that, and not powerful enough. Um, but often I was working as a middle quite often. That means when you're working in a trio, for example, and you're building things that go even higher. I was the person standing in the middle, and another person would be again on top of me, and things like this. So there I could pretend to be a base while at the same time being a flyer. That was fun.
Okay, that's good. And then you decide to that that was not your thing, and you switch into.
Well, first of all, in this moment, then I was having also in my private life some struggles and things, and was considering to quit Codex actually in that moment, and decided in the end though to continue with the school and continue studying as a floor acrobat and handstand artist. And I continued that for this last year of studies, and then had the struggle to figure myself out artistically in a way, as well as in the eyes of school that were also a bit unsure about this whole thing of, okay, can we let somebody graduate who's doing his study essentially since 1 year instead of 4 years, with the courses normally. And there, then I had to justify myself a lot in front of school, and as well the things that I was creating artistically were already going in this direction of using circus only where it makes sense. That means that I was not doing a lot of circus in my performances. And inside of an art institution and art school, that becomes quite difficult then because they have to give you grades and judge you, of course. And there is a certain register of how they judge things. And the technique, the circus technique, obviously plays a big role inside of that. And I was in my performances at least not demonstrating a lot of that. So there was a bit of a struggle there, and but all this justification, let's say, that I had to do in that time really strengthened myself artistically looking back onto it, and it made really clear what it is that I want to do artistically myself and how I want to express myself. So while it was very difficult, especially in this last year of Codas, it gave me a lot for myself and for what I do right now in my life.
That's nice to hear, man. That's really nice. And actually, it comes to my next question that is, what is for you successful in life? Do you feel that you are a successful person? What how do you balance that?
Um, what means successful to me? I managed to survive on being a performer, and I'm very happy about that. And in the end, I believe that as long as you're happy, you're successful as well. Of course, there is certain dreams that I have of I would love to play there and there, or I would love to have my own show and all this money available to create, etc., etc. Yes, that would be nice, but I'm happy right now as well. So yes, I'm successful in that sense.
Then for you, the base of successful should be being happy, right?
Yes,
If you, okay, okay, that's good. Then you feel that you are having a successful life right now.
yes.
Cool, cool.
So that this whole situation globally going on right now, it's
Yes,
going to do
yeah.
stuff that I like. And now in a couple of days, I'm driving back to Italy and doing a residency there with a bunch of other artists from various different disciplines and things like this. And that's just making me very happy, even though that this residency there doesn't pay me, but it fulfills me at the same time. So that's also very important.
Cool, cool. Okay, next question. What is your biggest single challenge that you're experiencing right now as an artist?
Artists. Um, Good question. Um, well, I'm busy creating a show at the moment, and that in the current times is creating quite a bit of struggle, obviously. How to finance things. This plus at the same time. how to balance the visions that I have for the show with what I can realistically accomplish. As the idea for the show goes beyond your normal stage performance, but we are looking to create our own stage and all this kind of things to kind of give the performance a different kind of performance backdrop. Like we feel that like it's me and another person at the moment creating it, and we feel that theater is like as a location um, is kind of starting to become old. And if you look back in theater history, the theater has been a place where revolutions could happen and that really changed people, and where theater still had a big influence on society as well, and it was a meeting point for the society as well. And we feel that this kind of got lost. So much of what is being programmed in theaters nowadays is mainly focused on entertainment and is not taking a lot of risk anymore. I personally feel like it is not looking to confront the audience with something that they don't want to see, for example, but should look at, and those kind of things. And for that, I think there needs to be a new space to communicate and express those things. And we are trying to create this kind of space that also connects to the other movement that's happening a lot right now in performance arts in general, where circus, dance, and theater and visual arts are all coming closer together and merging and experimenting with new things. But there's a lot of experimentation happening in small groups, but theaters are still quite behind when I look at the scene itself and compare that to what is actually being programmed in theaters.
Let,
Um,
let me stop you. What you're saying is that artists we are evolving in one way when we combine, right? And as you said, that we had a lot of revolutions in the art history, and right now what's happening in the theaters is that they are still like a bit in an old mood, that they didn't catch up. Where are we right now in all this artistic movement way? And that's kind of what you are telling to theaters, if that could be maybe fix and change and explore. Right?
yeah, in general, just to take some risks, and of course that's difficult because you have your money you have to make as a theater, and if some risk that you take doesn't work out, you lose a lot of money. But if you don't take risks, then where's the development at the same time?
That's
And
true.
need this development happening because changes are happening so fast at the moment, and we have to stay agile to be able to react on everything that's happening around us. And art institutions are always a bit behind. They're always trying to cater to the existing market, but when the market changes, then they're behind. And
But also something that it's coming to us is that we cannot perform in the theater most of the things for all this COVID situation, and right now it's all about live streaming, and that's. Do you think the theaters all have capabilities to do a nice live streaming performance, or it has to be the artists the ones who has to make sure that that's possible, or just don't do it?
I think that any form of change has to come starting with the artists themselves. And then the role of the theaters and institutions should be to facilitate that. Um, as you mentioned, the whole streaming situation. Um, there, for example, I feel that what we artists have to do is to rethink what we do, to not just put a camera onto the show that we play, but to consider, okay, if the show is being watched on a screen and if we are looking at it from only a handful of perspectives, depending on how many cameras we have, then I need to create the show very different as well, because most shows are created for a live audience, and the experience that you can have being in a theater watching a show live is an entirely different one compared to when I watch something on a screen. And too often I feel that that's not being taken into consideration. And that is something where we artists have to do something about, which at the same time currently is very difficult because, okay, we are artists, stage performers, we are not used to create something for the screen. So ideally, we should be working together with some cinematographers and people that are used to that medium. And in this place there, I see a possibility for institutions to help because they have the resources to bring into contact stage performers with cinematographers or other forms of video art that exists, as they as an institution know people or can reach out to people and bring those people then into contact and see what happens if you combine those two and what can we create out of that to support a necessary change that is happening right now through this, for example.
That's really true and really interesting to take notes, all the people and all these big institutions that are looking to us. And also something that you said, okay, about pushing boundaries. A lot of artists, that's what we do in our base day, just pushing our boundaries to. For me, it's also like a therapy, being an artist, a way of healing myself and
Yes.
just evolving and exposing that to the people. Okay, Jacob, where we can find you, where we can support you, which places should we look for you if we want to see you performing, coming weeks, month, whatever? Just tell us.
Well, you can find me on Facebook as Jakob Lohmann, and both privately and on the artist page. Um, and there is my website where you find pretty much everything that you need to know on one place, which is jlohmann.com. Um, you can put a link down.
We will put all your links down. We also want to ask you to put one of your videos into CAPTA LAVIE community to them people can see your art and see, oh, this is the guy that we just talked before. Also, what do you think about what are we doing here in CAPTA LAVIE community? I know that now you're joining our team to work to support. Just tell us, tell if to someone who is looking at us, why do you recommend this place, and also if what things we can do better and improve. And just like today, we are adding these interviews, but for the future, just tell us your experience a bit.
Um, well, the reason why I got interested in the whole project essentially was because it is showcasing independent artists and small creations of various people. Um, and that I think is beautiful to show those people, to give a platform to that, to have a place where somebody can come to and knows, okay, I'm gonna be able to watch various different types of art and various different artists here without having to know them and specifically search for them on YouTube, etc. But I can just be surprised by something. And for that, I think CAPTA LAVIE as a platform is beautiful. At the same time, for the artists that are publishing things through CAPTA LAVIE, I think it's beautiful to have, on the one hand side, the possibility to showcase your things there, and on the other hand, which is where things are slowly moving towards, to as well create really a community where conversation can happen about art. about their specific works, and where people can connect with other people to come up with collaborations and things like this. So it becomes kind of a market square somewhat, where you walk around, you see things, you meet people, and you exchange. And I think that's very great. And yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.